to the inside. Down to the turn number one. Gives it a go.
Giving the push to Chris Overland, putting him back into the lead.
Getting ready to go racing here on a special Monday night broadcast here at the UpperEdge Racing Roadlife Truck Series. Steve Bonesteel and Shane Doherty up in the booth here as we are getting ready to go racing. These boys are about to have at it here in the desert. Phoenix International Raceway here tonight as we are coming to the second to last race of the season as these guys, they've had a pretty interesting season so far. Corey Hoover, much like in the CMC Sportsman Series, has the championship lead here. These guys on Mondays, they do have the chase keeping things a little bit closer. Austin Hartenfeld second in points here, 45 points out, and Joe Lawrence 107 out. Chris Wright, and then we've got Moose there tied up 117 points out, 77 degrees here under the sunlight. Phoenix International Raceway, and Steve and Shane up in the booth with the UpperEdge Media 100 as we are getting ready for this.
Yeah, definitely, Steve. A very exciting night on our hands tonight here at Phoenix. Just like you said, before the CMC Sportsman Series this past Thursday, they went 150 laps, jam-packed, full of action, and in the end, Corey Hoover ended up locking into the championship down there. And tonight, he could do just the same. He comes into tonight's race with a commanding lead, 45 points. He has over the second-place driver, Austin Hartenfeld, also his teammate. Could definitely a good finish tonight, maybe even some bad luck by Austin, and Corey could head off into Homestead for both series feeling good about himself. So a big night for Corey, but also other guys coming to the track looking to get a win tonight. Plenty of them. You see plenty of guys still out here making qualifying runs, trying to best the time by Corey Hoover. He sat on the pole so far in tonight's event, but he's currently being challenged by guys like Andy Glazik and Shane Terrian. They have about a minute and a half left in qualifying.
Yeah, Corey actually did lock up the championship last Thursday night for the CMC Sportsman Series, so he goes into next week at Homestead, at least on Thursday night, feeling pretty good about himself. So all things put aside for Thursdays, we're here for we started off with the Truck Series when we started doing these guys, so it's kind of nostalgic up here in the booth as well to see how far this series has gone when it comes to the trucks as well.
It definitely is, and most of the guys in this race tonight usually do race on Thursdays, and also some new faces and guys who pop in and out of those Thursday night events are here as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the whole field kind of mixes themselves up tonight and brings on a show here. It's 100 laps instead of 150, so a little bit shorter. These guys definitely going to have to get toward the front a little bit earlier.
And at the moment, I'm trying to get a ring in with our second place driver in the points, Austin Hartenfeld. It's Steve and Shane up in the booth.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'll get ready to watch you guys go around the speedway here. It does appear you got yourself a new car. Tell us about it.
Well, we unveiled the new paint schemes for 2016A on Twitter this past week. Got a new Kroger car and Castrol car, primary Castrol and secondary Kroger, so I'm looking forward to that and having a good season next year.
Yeah, you always make sure to thank Ryan Dyson for all the great work that he does on your paint schemes here as we're getting set and ready to go green flag racing. What do you think is going to be the key here tonight at Phoenix International Raceway? 100 laps on the board.
I think keeping the rear straight is really the biggest problem because everyone's having problems off turn 4 with getting sideways. So keeping the rear tires in line and not burning them off. And then I don't know how it's going to get on a really long run. I think it's going to get looser, but I guess we'll just have to see. But I don't know how pit strategy is going to go. But I think tire conservation is probably going to be pretty big.
With it being the second to last race of the season, going into Homestead, Corey's still got a very considerable points lead. Is there anything that can be done about it? What's the common consensus down on pit road?
Well, the points all reset just like NASCAR style going into Homestead, so we're all on a clean slate at Homestead, and whoever finishes ahead of the other at Homestead is going to get it. So I'm not too worried about the points gap. I'm more worried about how Homestead's going to go. So I think right now I'm just going to try to win the race, and because you do that every week, and hopefully my teammates get into the elimination, and then we can brawl it out at Homestead.
All right, Austin. Well, thanks for coming up here to talk to us. We are getting ready to go racing. Back up to you, Shane.
So the cars get ready to don the grid here. I guess we'll go ahead and go through a full field rundown here real quickly as these guys just ready to roll off pit road about a 3/4 of a pace lap, and they'll be quickly underway for tonight's event. Starting on the pole for tonight will be Corey Hoover, and to his outside Andy Glazik to complete the front row. Shane Terrian will start third, and to his outside Joe Lawrence in fourth. Michael Finlayson rounds out top 5 with his outside, just talked with him, Austin Hartenfels. Starting 7th in tonight's event will be the 23 of J.D. Laird, and his outside Matthew Moose in 8th. Doy Woods will start 9th, and rounding out your top 10 will be Chad Coleman. Bradley Burke will start 11th with Josh Jones to his outside in the 30 car. Jamie Haley starts 13th, and Alan Cryer will start 14th to his outside. Ryan Dyson starts all the way back in 15th, definitely not the qualifying run he wanted. To his outside in 16th, Tom Bourne. Riley Grant Davis will start 17th, and to his outside, Rick Botts in the 40 car will start 18th. And rounding out the field, we have Aiden Lapsovic, Mark Murphy, Chris Wright, and Thomas Story. Complete your 22 truck field for tonight's event.
And as the pace car leads the field around, it's going to be just a couple of seconds before that pace car allows the field to come on off. I really do think tonight green flag pit stops could come into play. We saw quite a few cautions last Thursday night. However, these trucks are a little bit more easy to control, and things could play out a little bit differently, but the pace car pulls on down pit road. Corey Hoover has the field. As the green flag is prepared to wave, there it is, green flag in the air. We are racing here at PIR for the UpperEdge Media 100.
Ready to go trucking in the desert night, and these guys are already off to a pretty fast start, almost 3 wide per second in turns 1 and 2. Andy Glazik, Shane Terry, and Joe Lawrence right between there as the field scatters, all chasing Corey Hoover.
Lap out of the way is huge for these guys. Very clean first lap. Very little contact anywhere on the field, pretty much. Austin Hartenfels there trying to work on the 37. Started up towards the front row. That's Andy Glazik there. And then Shane Terrian moved his way up to second, and he's trying to chase down Corey Hoover already here. But of course, it's going to take more than just 1 lap. Michael Finlayson, he's a little bit further back than what we're used to seeing. He started up in the top 5 here, Matthew right now, right behind him. J.D. Laird just got around him. Oh, is the number 2. He's heading towards the inside wall. That's Bradley Burke. He's going to save it there. No damage.
Great save there by the 2 of Bradley Burke. Could have been disastrous. Only on the 3rd lap did Bradley see some chaos out of turn 2. We saw plenty of that Thursday night in the CMC Sportsman Series race. Something to consider for tonight's event is we are no longer under the lights. This is in pure sunlight. Toward the later portions of the afternoon to the track, definitely a lot more slick. And these guys, they're going to have their work cut out for them in handling these trucks around this track for sure.
Running around right now, just trying to figure out where is the best place to run to find the most grip. I think J.D. Laird has a pretty good strategy on the line. You can see he arcs it a little more than these other drivers mid-neck right now. It seems like he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, he's in 6th right now, trying to fill the gap on the 50th Matthew Moose. So all these guys kind of trying different lines, trying to figure out where their truck works the best early on, and as this race continues green and the more flag laps that we have, the better you're going to start to see some rubber being laid down, and it's really going to affect the racing line and the kind of grip level these guys get. The more rubber that goes down, the tighter in general these cars will get, and if you're not handling well to begin with and you get the rubber down, it's definitely going to be difficult later on in the race. These guys, they're just experimenting, trying to find some solutions to use later on.
Trying to chase down Hoover's down some pretty nice laps right now. It's just generalizing, it's spreading out pretty quickly. We're 7 laps into this, and it's spread out. It's about 3.5 seconds between the first and 10th on the boards. Chad Coleman is our 10th place driver right now, and he's racing back there right behind him, Brian Dyson, in that driven number 28. He's looking pretty sporty, picked up a few positions, struggling though early on with the rubber and the lead. See, there's a lot of drivers in that back right now, just not quite fit.
I think in Ryan Dyson's case, though, the fact that he started 15th is up to 11th means there's some kind of speed in that truck, and he might be willing to crack into the top 10 here sooner or later as he gets close to Chad Coleman there, but it might be one of those cases where Ryan might be struggling early on, but that truck might get better as the race goes on, and he could definitely be in contention for a better finish, if not a top 5 at some point in this race, so he'll be one of those guys we'll have to watch for later.
Alan Cryer is one of the drivers that I'm keeping an eye on. Thursday night, he had a pretty dismal night for half of the race, and somehow, some way, was able to still come away, I do believe, with like a 7th place finish. He's trying to do the same here, picking up positions left to right, cautions flying, Tom Horn goes around.
The red, black, and yellow Lego truck goes right around in turn 2. Similar spot when we saw Bradley Burke get loose. Lucky for Tom, he doesn't hit anything.
Just barely found himself a little bit of space down there with the runoff area to get that truck turned around and not find that inside wall, so no harm, no foul for that number 18. Top 5 as they run: Corey Hoover, Shane Terry, and Joe Lawrence. Andy Glazik and Austin Hartfell's there. Looking pretty similar to how things started off here tonight. But I tell you what, there's a lot of different opportunities here. I think track position is going to be big time key. Shane, if you can find track position out here at Phoenix, I think you can make 2 tires work.
Yeah, you definitely can, and these trucks, they handle a little bit differently when it comes to 2 tires than the B car that we saw before. So these guys, what was not possible there might be possible tonight, and especially on as short of a run as we just had, under 10 laps, probably 9 laps or so under legit green flag conditions. Definitely gives these guys some options, as we might see some truck taking 2 tires off pit road. That might be Jamie Haley, might have missed his pit box accidentally. But nonetheless, not a bad call, and it looks like Shane Terry is going to be the race winner off the road.
So first caution in the books here. We'll have to see how everyone sorts out. Not too much strategy down on pit road, or pit alley as some people like to call it here. So these drivers are going to hop back out. Chris Wright, I do believe, though, decided to stay out in that number 20. And it appears that he'll take the opportunity to stay up there in that high by power number 20 machine. Very nice pace scheme for him. Shane Terry will be starting on that inside. And then Corey Hoover will be all the way back and forth. And when I say all the way back, it's not that far, but it's not on the front row. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think in Chris Wright's case, he's electing that 4 tires is better than just taking 2 right sides, so he'll just go ahead and stay out, guaranteed the lead by doing that. He'll also elect the outside lane for this restart. That's very interesting to see. But Shane Terry and his crew, fantastic pit stop. He gets by Corey Hoover and will take the first car on the inside lane, in this case the 2nd place car for the restart. And everyone else behind him, 4 tires and fuels. It's going to be very interesting to see how Chris Wright fares on these newer tires behind him as the base car gets ready to pull off, and first restart of the race about to be underway.
police cars pulled down. Green flag back in the air. Go back to green flag racing and down into turn 1 and 2. Here we go. Shane Terrian on the inside. Will Corey Hoover try to split the gap here into the middle? He's going to think about it. He's going to do it. There is, wow, turn number 20 all the way up to the outside wall, making it 3, almost 4 wide.
Yeah, Chris Wright definitely completely missing that. Does a nice job keeping it off the wall, got into the marbles, got loose. See some trucks getting loose in front of him though. That's around for the 8th spot. Chad Coleman and the rest of the guys 3 wide off of turn 4. They do a nice job to gather it back together as one car almost spins.
Very tight racing on these restarts. A lot of these drivers still not quite comfortable with their machines. A little bit of contact actually there mid-pack as they bottled up on each other. And it looks like right now Austin Hartfell's in that number 29 program machine just wants to get on by. On the inside of Davis. Davis hanging on top. JD Laird's right there behind him. JD had a pretty good car in practice and qualifying, just didn't quite have the sheer speed for the start. And a lot of these drivers are trying to find their way through the field, through the messes right now.
And just on the other end of the pit road, you can find Riley Grant Davis, practice 19th, qualified 17th, really not any speed so far tonight, and there he is battling for 5th. Up there with Austin Hartenfeld, it's actually the battle for 6th now as Dwight Woods got by both those guys. But a fantastic effort so far early on for that 24 team as JD Laird takes a look to the inside.
Big time wiggle out of Michael Finlayson there. Did a nice job being able to collect that on the front straightaway. I tell you what, spinning on the front stretch is painful. That inside wall, once you get it, you bounce back up quite often, right back into traffic. And once you're back in traffic, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's funny how this track is designed because there's no room on the front stretch, as you said, Steve, when you spin out, but there's all kinds of room out of turn 2 down the entire back straightaway, especially with the repave and dog leg reconstruction. So these guys, you definitely, if you pick a place to spin, off turn 2 is not a bad place to do, if you have to, of course. But so far in the race, these guys continuing to spread out, and I think at this point everyone's just trying to figure out what they have still and see how the track is changing.
We're riding around right now with Corey Hoover. He's sitting in 3rd. He's doing a solid job, being patient right now, working on the 78, and also just waiting to see how things shake out in front of him between Shane Terrian and the second place driver here. So I think right now Corey Hoover being very patient, waiting to find out what his truck has a little bit in traffic. Early on is when you want to do this stuff. Feel it out while you can, when track position isn't necessarily 100% killer if you don't have it. So right now, I think he's the faster truck, and I already know he can be the faster truck, but we'll just have to see if he gets around Lawrence and then Terrian pretty quickly here if he comes up.
Yeah, I think it's really just check down time for Corey Hoover. He understands he's got a fast truck, and I mean, he knows what he has to do to get around these guys. He's just not going to push it this early in the race, working lap 19 of 100, so we're not even a 4th into the race quite yet. And these guys still battling hard for the lead. I think he definitely realizes that, you know, I might have the faster truck, as you said, Steve, but, you know, maybe not a good time to go up there and trade fenders quite yet. He'll go ahead and fall back and continue to ride in 3rd as Shane Terrian. He's got the pedal down to the metal at this point, and he has been the leader since that restart and going well in 1st. So a little contact, or almost the lead. Shane Terrian gets loose. Joe Lawrence might have gave him a little bit of a tap, or that, or maybe at least some aerodynamic interruption out of turn 4. Got the car a little bit sideways. He does a nice job to save it. I should really say truck, because these guys are driving trucks. They handle completely different compared to the A car or the B car here, especially on a track like Phoenix. It is a short track, but you come off that corner, just the weight distribution in general and how these guys have the spoilers set up on these trucks, definitely different and definitely a different beast when it comes to those. So Shane Terrian, he's doing a nice job. He led some laps Thursday night, also showing he can dominate as well here in the trucks on Monday.
And just a huge bottleneck of cars been packed still just right outside this top 10 mark. Murphy trying to move up in that number 48, just made the pass on Burt. Chad Coleman struggling right now in that number 6, just actually got passed by the 18 to Tom Warren there on the inside. Tom actually was the last car to spin out and bring out that first caution, so he's trying to recover pretty quickly here. Back up towards the front. Corey Hoover still can't find a way around Joe Lawrence, back to get around to Shane Terrian's back bumper. He gets that run, and then it shuts the door right at the right times for him. Or at the wrong times for Corey, but at the right times for Joe. But he's going to get a little bit loose there after collecting. And number 78 could have found himself in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, he definitely could have, but here comes Corey once again. He's trying to work to the inside of Joe Lawrence for second, but now Corey's going to get really loose.
He's going to go around.
He's going to do a little bit of brakes, saving it. Now he goes around. Looks like everyone's going to avoid him. Wow, that was a great save. Nonetheless, kept it just enough in time to where he could spin it in a safe place, and everyone got around him in time. That was definitely all Corey could do. You could tell that was a handful.
Yeah, I am very impressed with him there. Oh my gosh, he missed his teammate Austin Hertenfeld by big inches. Yeah,
first he was going around like the car was going to overcorrect sidewall, and then once again, and then as you said, Steve, Austin Hartenfeld almost clobbered him in the rear end, and then Corey finally spins it out, locks it down, everyone avoids him thankfully, and just 4 tires and fuel for that truck, and he should be just fine.
Yeah, you don't get much luck here, that's for sure. We're going to throw it off to a quick commercial break here as we're a quarter distance through the race. When we come back, we've got the restart for you here live at Phoenix International Raceway for the UpperEdge Media 100. Tuned in live on Checkered Flag Interactive. This is big here tonight.
Goes to the inside, down to the turn number 1, gives it a go.
Giving the push to Chris Overland, putting him back into the lead.
Gonna go side by side, it's gonna be back here as the field gets ready to dive it off into 3 and 4. Double back up. It's going to be J.D. Laird leading him down here for this restart. Over to you, Shane.
Yeah, J.D. Laird elects the inside in here with Andy Glazik to his outside in the front row. Both these guys, they've shown some good speed, but they haven't been this far up in the field. We'll have to see how they fare compared to the rest of the competitors as the pace car pulls off. Field to the attention of J.D. Laird, and we're back to Green Flag Racing in Phoenix.
Look out the back bumper of Laird. You can see an angry Shane Terrian wants down in that Evil Controller's machine. He's going to look to the inside. He's not going to quite have the run there. Look at the field just jostling behind him here. Beautiful angles As we dive it off in 3 and 4, still fighting on the outside is Glazik. Here comes Tarian right to his bumper.
Yeah, J.D. Laird, the sole truck to stay out under that caution. He is on old tires, and these guys trying to swallow him up the best they can, but J.D. Laird says, I want none of that, and might have got the bumper there by Shane Tarian, forces him up the track a little bit, but there's no room to go for any of these guys third on back as Austin Hartenfels takes the lead and he's trying to pull away.
Big dive out of Tarian, contact with J.D. Laird into Andy Glazik, into the number 50. J.D. Laird's going around on the inside, going to collect a bunch of drivers here. Huge wreck.
Oh, big time wreck in the back as well. We've got Chad Coleman, Michael Finlayson, J.D. Laird is obviously also Ryan Dyson got a piece of that. The list goes on and on. Bradley Burke also involved. He took a head-on hit in the wall. We'll have to pull up a replay and see exactly what happened.
Just started bottling up after Laird got turned there, nowhere to go. And heavy contact for some of those drivers there, hard into the outside wall for Finlayson, Chad Coleman, and that's going to be a frustrating end to the night.
Yeah, also Rick Potts and Ellen Cryer, the other two drivers I believe involved in that one, and several other guys had to really get on the brakes to do the best they can to miss those guys. Also Andy Glazik, he was the truck that got sandwiched into the wall between him and J.D. Laird. Andy's pulled it behind the wall, done for the night there. So several drivers coming onto pit road here, going to have a lot of work to do with their crews to get these trucks back out there. There's not many left after that one.
So top 10 after that carnage, a little bit jostled up. Hartenfels, Joe Lawrence, Doy Woods, Shane Tarian there, Matthew Moose, Ryan Dyson, Corey Hoover, Bradley Burke, Alan Cryer, and Tom Boyd.
And the 33 Corey Hoover did get through that. He was all the way the second to last car when that wreck started, so he had plenty of room to check up and did the best he could really to just stay out of the mess, and that's going to move him all the way back up into the top 10.
We'll actually try to get a ring in with him real quick here. Take us through, Corey, that craziness coming up off of 4, what it looked like from your perspective.
Well, first off, I'm just glad I have a truck left because Austin Hartenfels almost destroyed me when I spun. Had a bit of a connection issue there, but I think I got it fixed. There was a slight hole. I thought I was going to get taken out coming off of 4. Openings from heaven, really. That's all I can say.
All right, Corey, well, best of luck here on this restart. We're all bottled back up. We've still got a ways to go. 33% of the way through the race. Easy math for once. So we're going back to green.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
These guys getting ready for the restart. Austin Hartenfels still your leader. His outside, the 78 at Joe Lawrence. And after that, it's pretty much a new group third on back after the wreck. We'll sort it all out and more as the green flag's back up.
Restart here. A couple of drivers making some big moves. Doy Woods pushes up the track, almost into the 78 of Lawrence on the outside. Everyone's going to collect it. Here comes Hoover through the outside lane, trying to get to the back of the number 91 and the 78 there. He's going to go a little bit higher through 1 and 2 than I thought he probably wanted to. He's going to make it work here. He'll dive to the inside of 3 and 4. I don't believe he has the line to do so. And then right there behind him, they battle it out. Number 28 of Dyson. He looks to come up here, maybe make some action. He's going to drift up the track a bit too, but just so much real estate being battled for as the 50 gets bruised and bruised there. He'll be able to collect it, keep it under control, just barely, but he does.
Yeah, Selvo drivers really the beneficiaries of that caution. Doy Woods, Corey Hoover, they both moved into the top 5 now. They were nowhere near there when the caution flew. And also Ryan Dyson, that quest to come through the field after a bad starting spot in 15th up to 7th and moving forward. But he got a piece of that wreck, but it was only cosmetic, so he'll be just fine for the rest of the event. There's some big-time battles up here. Now we got a battle for the lead. So that's actually a battle second.
Yeah, that's Doy Woods and still Joe Lawrence. Lawrence is up on the high side trying to defend it from Woods. Doy just keeps trying to look down to the inside line, can't quite get there, but I've got a feeling once the tires start to wear back in, they'll probably be able to make it on through.
And Doy's doing a really nice job of making that inside line work. It's not easy when you have a car really taking away your run off the corner, and that time Joe Lawrence does clear Doy Woods for the second spot. But Doy still got a really fast truck, and he's doing everything he can on that inside line to hold off some of these guys. And now here comes Corey Hoover to his outside for the third spot. And if Corey can get by Doy on the outside, I think Corey's definitely going to have some room to work with, because he's been one of the fastest trucks all night, and getting into the top 3 would just solidify himself.
Shane Terrian trying to make the moves as well, up on the outside line, almost going to push up into the outside wall. Here comes the 50th Bruce, trying to make the run back on the inside. He'll get the nose. Will he make a move also on Doy? He'll get to his back bumper here, but that outside line has a little more momentum through the middle of the corner. And then Dyson drives back up. He's right there as well. The UpperEdge Racing machine here for the UpperEdge Media 100 at Phoenix International Raceway Live on CFI special Monday night broadcast here. This is number 50. Paddles harder with Darian. A little bit of a door kiss there.
Yeah, these guys definitely battling hard. Shane Terrian, he's been up toward the front for the most of the night. The 50 of Matthew Moose. He's been around the top 10, but not as high as he is currently now. That's a battle for the top 5, and Matthew would like nothing more but to get that spot and try and challenge for a top 3 as Ryan Dyson does the elevator drop. He's going to go to the inside of Matthew Moose for the 6th spot.
It'll be interesting to see what he can do with it there. Will he be able to maintain the run? Through the dog leg, back up in the 3 and 4. He dives down to the inside. Big time dive out of number 28. As it looks like Matthew Moose is going to fight back on the outside. He'll have momentum, but he's going to get loose. They're both going to get loose there. Both of them are tracking very intense.
And you can tell they were really battling hard for that spot, heating up those rear tires a little bit more than they want to, as Matthew Moose is loose again off for turn 2 right there. So both these guys, they're really fast trucks, and they're doing everything they can, but getting loose off the corner definitely going to aggravate that truck as the run goes on.
And I tell you what, here, the drivers they talked about at turn 3 and 4 already is like driving on the ice, so I'm sure getting loose like that is going to be pretty hard to save a bunch of times because those tires just continue to get hotter and hotter. Dyson though makes the pass.
He does make the pass, and that'll move him up into the 6th spot. So Ryan Dyson continues his quest toward the front of the field, moving forward. And I can tell you who else is moving forward, the 6th of Chad Coleman. He's really struggled early on in this race. He is slowly but steadily making his way back up into the top 7 or so, currently 8th. And also Mark Murphy started 20th in tonight's event, up to 9th inside the top 10, moving forward as well. So both those guys doing a nice job as the race continues on. They put themselves in a good spot to pounce late, and who knows, maybe steal away a good finish.
Taking a look back up towards the front, Hartenfels, Lawrence, they're back on top of each other for the lead here. It's only a matter of time before I think that number 78 might start knocking on the back bumper.
Yeah, definitely the top 5 have kind of solidified themselves, but Joe Lawrence, he's all of a sudden, as you said, Steve, showing some really good pace compared to Austin Hartenfels, and if he gets good runs through the center of the corner, he might just have a chance to get underneath him and challenge for the lead.
this is going to be mid-pack right there. This is for the 8th position if Chad Coleman can start to make that move, but it looks like a little bit of damage on that number 6 might be holding back.
Yeah, he's got some right side damage, also some left side damage was sustained in an earlier incident. That was not from the big wreck we saw in the previous caution, so nonetheless, Chad's doing a nice job inside the top 10, but the truck directly behind him, the 30 of Josh Jones. Got to give a call out to him as he's done a nice job. As you can see Mark Murphy get loose there. Chad makes the pass, but Josh Jones, not a mark on that truck, unsponsored, but he's doing everything he can to get the finish that that team could possibly put out tonight in a top 10 with Lena Locke.
Shane, look at the bottleneck of the drivers right there, 10 through 12 pretty much.
Yeah, definitely got some moving forward as well, just behind those guys. Chris Wright in the 20. He's outside the top 15 at the drop of the green here, and now he's back up into 12th. Also Tom Boren, he was our first caution of the night, turned around before. He's doing a nice job to keep that truck running well, just outside the top 10 as well. Also Riley Grant Davis and Alan Cryer. Both those guys were toward the front early on. They've kind of faded, but still in the hunt here as we approach halfway.
Duck off for a quick side-by-side commercial break. We'll be back and update you on everything you need to know here at Phoenix International Raceway. are back here as the battles ensue. Corey Hoover, Austin Martin in second position. Take a look at that there. Dirt tracking it up off the board.
Yeah, with the increased green flag runs we've seen so far in this event, this one by far the longest as we're just past halfway. You can tell the track conditions changing. These guys forever getting looser and looser as the run goes on, and it's become pretty much the term of who can hang on to it really the best. Speed, not that big of a difference. If you're hanging on and not getting loose off the corner, you are fast. And look at that, Austin Hartenfeld's basically, as you said, Steve, dirt tracking it off the corner. That looks like something you would do in a sprint car on a dirt track off the corner. He's doing it in a stock car, or a stock car truck, I should say, and off an asphalt turn. So really cool to see that. But Austin Hartenfeld, he's doing everything he can to keep his teammate Corey Hoover behind him, even though Corey might be a little bit faster. All these guys battling for second as Joe Lawrence, seemingly liking these conditions, continues to pull away.
And a little bit of bumper tag used there out of Corey Hoover on the back with Hartenfeld. Letting his teammate know, hey, you know, I'm not the only one waiting to get on by. Shane Terrian's coming back here as well, so you might want to move. And Austin's probably sitting up there thinking, yeah, no, I don't. I'm happy where I am.
I think it definitely is slick as it is, and as it continues to be. Passing is not that easy, especially with trucks that get loose off the corner. How you pass someone here is get a run off the corner, and if you get a truck that can't get off the corner because it's so loose and can't carry that speed that it needs to get by the driver in front of you, it becomes difficult, and that's basically what we're seeing here is Corey Hoover takes looks to the inside but can't make anything work, and Austin Hartenfeld, he's doing a little bit of blocking or defensive driving himself as Corey's going to put the nose underneath there for second, and we'll see who has the momentum through 3 and 4.
And this time he's going to have an edge on him here. Will he be able to make the move? I think, yeah, going down into 1 and 2, he'll have the shot at it.
And it looks like Austin's just going to give it to him, knowing that the outside line, not the favorable approach to the turn, as Corey Hoover gets really loose, basically had to correct it there, get out of the throttle, but does a nice job to regain all the confidence in the truck, and he's the new second place driver. Is now Shane Terrian's trying to take a look to Austin Hartenfeld's, trying to knock him out of the top 3 and possibly get Shane into the top 3, and maybe these guys can track down Joe Lawrence.
Yeah, these battles will definitely be more interesting as the race continues to go on here. Looks like right now Terrian might be a little more quick than Hartenfeld's. Just again, same with Corey Hoover, has to find the way to get around him.
Top 4 pretty much spread themselves out as Billy Woods has actually come up here. The top 5 pretty much all together, which Joe Lawrence, your leader, he has a 2.5 seconds over Corey Hoover and the rest of the field. You have to go 2 seconds back from the top 5 to find the 28 of Ryan Dyson running 6th. That truck, the comeback continues, but he's done a nice job up there. He's in 6th and obviously possibly looking for a caution right now, get the field reset and see how far that 28 car can get up toward the front. And just behind him, the 50 of Matthew Moose, another driver that's been on the move as of lately, and he's done a nice job in 7th, continuing on. And how about Chad Coleman in 6th, or in the 6th truck in 8th with some damage, doing a nice job to hang on there and not really affecting him that much. And also in 9th, Josh Jones, talked about him earlier, not a mark on that truck, doing everything he can to bring home a solid finish, and so far doing that. And Chris Wright in the 20 will round out the top 10.
Chad Coleman still trying to make a comeback here, and just like you said, Josh Jones there in that number 30, right there behind him, is going to give him some competition there for that spot. He's going to look down the inside, and he'll make the sweeping pass there. Beautiful job. Taking a look back up towards the front real quick. It's still the battle for third now between Hartenfeld and then also Terrian. But then Corey Hoover is also trying to chase down Lawrence, but Lawrence is running about 0.2 quicker each lap.
Yeah, Joe Lawrence is really pulling third on back, a couple tenths per lap. Corey Hoover's really the only driver within the same zip code of Joe Lawrence when you look at lap times, but even at that, Joe is still the faster driver out there, and that last time by, Corey Hoover does lose about half a tenth, so you can definitely tell that 7-8 truck as the run progresses gets better and better, and if you're Joe, you definitely don't want to see caution as we just passed the 2/3 mark in this race, which means we have 33 laps to go, and we are coming ever so closely to the conclusion of tonight's race. It's been a quick one, but definitely, who knows how this finish is going to be.
I tell you what, one caution or no cautions or 3 or 4 could change how this thing completely shakes out. If we don't get any green flag pit stops, are going to come very, very close. I think about 100 laps on 75, 80 laps on fuel. So I think they'll be good on fuel, but I'd like to see drivers possibly dip down for tires. I mean, Phoenix isn't really a place where you think about the tires getting worn too much, but you just never know what you're going to see.
Yeah, and who knows, could see some calls in the back. We've seen some pretty crazy things over the last couple of months on CFI when it comes to tire strategy, so have to follow all of that and more as these guys continue to progress around this racetrack. Just had an anxious moment with JD Laird, got in front of some of the leaders, pulled off. Thankfully that truck just came back from the garage. He's been doing some damage repair and almost something happened there, but a nice job of staying out of the way for JD, and we continue on with just 15 of the original 22 trucks that started tonight's event on the lead lap with Thomas Story. He started shotgun on the field, currently 15th, your last driver on the lead lap.
Sixth position, making a move on Matthew Roos, and will do so, take that spot over, but Matthew's not going to just roll on over here. He's going to look back down the inside line and possibly try to dive it off into the corner here, and he'll be able to get underneath, but will he be able to make the move? Dyson will fight back on the outside line, almost a little bit of contact there. Oh, ever so slightly pushing up. There's the door, bang, and Dyson almost into the outside wall, but he'll be able to keep it up off that outside wall, just barely.
Yeah, it looks like just good old hard short track race and old tires. These trucks, pretty much all of them sliding around to the premium at this point in the run, so I'd call that pretty much just hard racing, no fault to any driver. But for Ryan Dyson, he's going to fall outside there. He's in 7th, but could fall outside the top 10 as Josh Jones might power right around him in the outside lane, and he's going to do that off of turn number 4. It's impressive pass, and here comes Chad Coleman to Ryan's inside.
Coleman probably won't be able to do too much here, but as I say that, he's pushing. He's going to probably try to make that pass pretty quickly. And number 6 has really been struggling. That damage on the front seems to have slowed that machine down just a bit on straight line speed here. So I don't really know how much he's got long run. We'll see here. We're coming down 25 laps to go for the UpperEdge Media 100 here. These laps are turning off pretty quickly. It's still Lawrence out in front. He's now led the most laps of 26. That's 6 laps over Hartenfeld. So we'll have to see how this one shakes out for the rest of the race, Shane.
And this late in the run, what we're seeing, Joe Lawrence pulling the entire field except one driver, the second place of Corey Hoover in the 33, and it's basically a trade-off. One lap Joe will go faster, the next lap Corey's a little bit faster. That last time by, half a tenth Corey cut out of Joe's lead, but we're coming down to now 25 laps to go. He's definitely going to need to pick up the pace if you're Corey Hoover. You have to get to Joe, number 1, and then number 2, you got to find a way around him, and so far, what we've seen as this run continues on, passing gets harder and harder. It's going to get very interesting to see exactly what plays out.
Shane Terrian, after being a very sporty looking number 38 earlier, has struggled to get that. One of the keys as I talked about pre-race, track position's probably pretty important. And tires, of course, will get you pretty far, but if you have to drive through half the field to get there, that entire equivalency on your tires is just going to be putting you basically wherever you want to. So you got to be so careful trying to find that perfect balance.
You definitely do, and for some of these guys who have really chewed away at those rear tires, I guess you could say they're really loose off when it comes to getting off the corner right now. They're not carrying that speed down the straightaway, and they're losing a lot of time to the leaders, and that's why you're seeing such a spread out field. Fifth place driver Shane Terry 5.5 seconds off the lead, and just outside there in the 10th spot, which is currently Ryan Dyson. He's a full 11 seconds back from the lead, so that's a third of a lap so far at this point in the run, and a pretty impressive job you can see by Joe Lawrence showing that kind of speed, and he's really just in his own zip code right now, running his own race.
And Dyson's in a pretty significant. Oh boy, is Chris right there makes contact with a slow JD Laird, who's a lap down. They'll save it that I Buy Power Machine was loosey-goosey down on the dog leg. So I feel like that's a rhyme. But I tell you what, the number 28 and the number 20 struggling right now. Chris Wright with that beautiful save right there. Not too happy with JD Laird. He's going to shove it up underneath him again here. He's possibly going to push up, give him another door tap. But these drivers are not too happy with Laird. We're going 3 wide.
Ryan Dyson 3 wide through the middle, and he's going to make it work as JD Laird gives way a little bit there, but still really close quarters racing, especially this late in the race. These guys know that they're probably not going to get the best finish that they wanted, but any points or anything they can salvage from here, definitely go for it. And JD Laird, a lap down truck, trying to just race and have fun out there, but guys below him definitely battling for some crucial spots, and they're not going to show him much leeway at all, and we saw that with Chris Wright as they all get by.
Back out in front, just an update on Lawrence, still leading this thing out here. He's just got a couple more laps to lead, and then he's led the most laps, and then he got about 15 laps to go, and then he's home free on the victory. So I mean, right now, Joe Lawrence can't let anything get to him. He's got to be very, very cautious. He can't push it too hard. But he needs to remember, he's in the catbird seat right now. Corey Hoover has to chase him down big time if he wants to make this happen.
It's something you have put in the back of your mind, and I know if you're one of the guys up front, I should say Joe Lawrence pretty much. And I was just going to say, what happens if a caution comes out, and there's a caution, Shane Terry finally loses it off the corner. So now here we go. What do you do if you're the leaders, and what do you do if you're in the back of the field?
I'll tell you what, we'll take a look at this replay here. It looks like Terrian just gets that left front down on the apron, gets sideways there. iRacing calls the caution, predicting he's going to finish the spin. He's down on the racing track surface area, so caution comes out. About 14 to go. We're going to hop off for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll take it to the green, to the finish. This is big here tonight.
Goes to the inside, down to the turn number 1, gives it a go.
Giving the push to Chris Overland, putting him back into the lead.
going to go side by side. It's going to be door to door. Who gets it?
Oh my gosh! They tied almost!
Yeah, this is going to be one of these races where you're just going to have to hold your breath the entire time.
Everybody up! Taraska in the number 4 gets a spinner! Going around! It's the big one!
Alarms go off when I enter the building.
We're going to get the restart with 13 laps to go here. All the strategy, all the hard work thrown into the dust for Joe Lawrence here, as now he's got to duke it out with teammates to his outside, to his rear, and then a little bit further back, another teammate to his rear. So right now, we're going back green. Once this pace car pulls off, it's going to be an interesting run to the finish.
It definitely will, and these guys have spent the entire race trying different lines, experimenting, and really mixing up how they approach this mile short track, and now this could be the final restart of the evening and the night, and what could be your final chance to put everything on the line and use everything you've learned to really do the best you can, run the fastest laps, and ultimately charge toward the front. And in Joe Lawrence's case, hold off a bunch of hungry truck drivers that are about ready to go insane as the pace car pulls off. We're going to be back to green flag racing here in Phoenix. Great start by the 78 of Joe Lawrence as Corey Hoover's now in second. Doing a nice job there in the inside line. Everyone else pretty much single file. There's no contact between Josh Jones, Doy Woods. Josh Jones is going around. Also some other trucks involved there. See the 76 of Caden Lapsovic goes around. Some cautions, breed cautions there. Quick restart and a quick caution.
Yeah, looks like just everyone just bottlenecked right there after you saddle going around. Back it up. Around at 76. Not too much damage to either of those drivers, but still frustrating nonetheless. And that's more than that.
Yeah, definitely will. And looking back at that wreck, looks like Ryan Dyson checked up a little bit. Might have went a little bit wide in the middle of the turn. Josh Jones, I got into the rear of him. Then he tried to go down to make a pass, and Doy Woods was already there. Contact made. Chris Wright also gets into the 30 of Josh Jones. We'll have to see if Chris has got some front end damage that might need attention. Then Leighton, or I should say Caden Lapsovic, goes just right around to avoid them. Does a nice job there. So a relatively cosmetic wreck, but this is once again going to bunch the field back up, and this is another restart that all these leaders are going to have to deal with.
This is going to be a very vital restart, just like the last one for Lawrence. He's got to get it dead on. Can't give Corey any leeway here. Does, well, Corey, as hardcore of a racer as he is, he will definitely take full advantage and probably try to find some way, even if it requires a little bit of sliding and fun short track racing. Find a way to get that lead.
He definitely will, and if you're Joe Lawrence, well, you got to feel for him because he's had such a dominant race, and all of a sudden now it could come down to just one shift and really one acceleration on the pedal on a restart to pull out in front of these guys and grab the win. And if he screws something up or makes a mistake or does something out of the ordinary on this restart that really gets him in trouble when it comes to the turn 1 and turn 2, it could really be a unfortunate experience for Joe Lawrence. He's had a fast truck, but you hate to jinx him or have anything happen that could take away his chances to win. We'll just have to see. The point in being the leader, though, is he gets lane choice on the restart, so if he's comfortable with the inside, he can obviously go on the inside, or if he likes the outside here, he can elect to take that as well. So we'll have to see all kinds of options Joe's got for him in the lead, but nonetheless, he's got a lot of fast drivers behind him willing to pounce if he makes a mistake.
Pace car lights will go off this time. They'll double back up for the UpperEdge Media 100. And this is the second to last race of the season. It's been a pretty good one. We've had plenty of green flag racing. I believe only 4, maybe 5 cautions now with this one. These guys have had plenty of battles on the track, but it's all going to come down to this. This will probably be the final green flag run unless we get a super quick caution, but I don't know, Shane. What do you do? I mean, Ryan Dyson's the only driver in the field that took 2 tires. He'll be starting 5th. Will he struggle here on this restart? Who knows?
Yeah, it's a pretty stacked inside line when it comes to RCA racing, and they also have control of the outside lane with Corey Hoover. So that team can really dictate how this restart goes, but for other guys like Matthew Moose, Chad Coleman, also Doy Wood still up there strong despite some damage, they're willing to pounce, and they're going to do everything they can to find the holes to go through and do everything to get toward the front, and who knows what can happen for the lead. Some of these guys could take advantage of that and power through for the win. We'll have to find out that and more as the pace car is off. Joe Lawrence inside lane, your leader, gets the green flag, and we're back underway.
Restart for Lawrence, but mid-pack, these drivers just duking it out. Shane Terrian way back there in 7th right now. That's all contact, side by side, being abandoned. That was Matthew Moose, who's at the same. No caution, 6 laps to go. Next time by here, as these guys are just racing like no other.
Yeah, Matthew Moose got hit by the 91 of Doy Woods, not once but twice, and almost sent him around. Great save. Bet those two guys aren't happy with each other as this race continues on. Nonetheless, battle up front, top 4 breaking away. Joe Lawrence got a fast truck, but Corey Hoover right on his tail for the lead in second.
Hasn't gotten to the bumper quite yet. Will he be able to do so this time? He's going to look down. He's driving way down on the apron there, but that's going to hurt him on exit. If he wants momentum, he's going to get a little bit loose. Hold on to it. Not to that bumper. 5 laps to go.
Yeah, we're down to 5 to go, and that's 5 miles to make something happen if you're Corey Hoover, and that's 5 miles to just hang on to your seat if you're Joe Lawrence. And he's doing everything he can. Probably going to do the best he can to look out the front, not in the mirror, because mirror driving, probably not the greatest idea on a short track, but look at the line Corey Hoover's taking. He's got almost 4 wheels on the apron in turns 3 and 4, trying to get as much rotation and take the shortest way around this track as he possibly can, and so far it's working out a little bit, but he's got to find a way around it. Being faster than the guy in front of you is one thing, but as I said before, passing is a completely different subject.
And that might require some of that chrome horn here. We'll see as he gets to the bumper. This time in a 3, almost looking like he was going to make a slight tap there. He makes the run down the apron, looking for as much grip as he can find. But again, Lawrence will have the momentum off the corner, control on the bumper. And there's the caution to end the race. Not even sure what it's for, Shane.
Looks like it's going to be the 91 of Doy Woods. They got into it possibly with Matthew Moose, so we'll have to take a look at the replay, but It looks like actually Doy Woods might have just stopped on the track in the outside lane.
I'll take a look at the replay, pulling it up right here. He's mid-pack. Grinding that 50s down on his inside. Into 3 and 4. No contact out of the 50. And it looks just like he stopped and exited out.
That's exactly what he did. He did no contact with Matthew Moose, so that was not retaliation or something going on there. That was a completely different situation. That's definitely interesting to see Doy do that, because that did cause the caution and did affect the finish of this race. Whether or not it'll affect anything like the championship, probably not. But Joe Lawrence hangs on for the win. He's probably grateful for that. That's a couple laps less that he had to hold Corey Hoover and Austin Hartenfels off. And he'll be your winner here of the UpperEdge Media 100 at the Phoenix International Raceway. And Corey Hoover is going to finish second there. That's a strong run, but remember, chase standings will be reset for next week, so they, or at least Corey's team, will have that momentum to look on for next week.
So these will be the tentative results here, assuming nothing substantial happens under caution. Joe Lawrence will walk away the winner. Corey Hoover second, Hartenfels third. Chad Coleman, Shane Darian, Alan Cryer, Mark Murphy, Ryan Dyson, Matthew Moose, and Caden Lapchevitz there to round out the top 10. And I do believe, Shane, you are bringing in with Joe's rating, right?
He's got one turn left in tonight's race, and then he'll be the winner. But nonetheless, Joe, you bring home the victory tonight in Phoenix. Take us through what it took to take it home.
Wow, it was definitely a lot of work. There's a lot of fast guys in this series. But all in all, really, I learned a lot from Thursday's night race, where I led some, but I burned up my equipment to ruin my chances in that win. So I definitely took a lot from what I learned there and used it here.
Yeah, how about that caution coming out with about 20 to go? You had the dominant truck. It led the most laps up to that point, but pulling away from your teammates at RCA Racing and pretty much the entire field. Then the yellow flew, and you had some pretty key restarts to hold off the rest of the field. How nerve-wracking was that?
It was honestly really scary. I was getting in a nice groove there, and I thought I would have been perfectly fine with the going green to the end, but you always got to throw a curveball for some excitement, and that definitely did it there.
But nonetheless, you hold off the victory tonight here in Phoenix, and you're going to be a part of the championship for going for the championship next week in Homestead. What are your thoughts there, and do you think this momentum will transfer over?
I definitely hope the momentum will transfer over. I have not raced Homestead in a while, so I'm definitely excited to see where I lay. But last time I raced at Homestead, I had a blast doing it, so we'll see. Hopefully we bring some speed with me.
Definitely, Joe. Before we let you go, any sponsors or shout-outs you want to thank for tonight's victory?
Well, I definitely have to thank my roommate, because my computer broke this morning, so until I got home from school, I didn't even know I was going to be racing tonight, so I have to give him a shout out. That's Marcus Lambert.
Wow, it's pretty cool. Joe nonetheless brings it home, had some backup equipment in the truck to pull out, but he takes the victory tonight. Joe Lawrence brings it home in Phoenix.
So real quick, we'll get a ring in with Corey. Corey going into the final week of the season. Homestead, Miami next week. What do you have to do to get the win? Of course, it's pretty simple when it boils down to it. Finish ahead of Austin Hartenfels and everybody else in the final round. But how do you do it?
Teammates, that's the only good thing going for me, I guess. They're not sure who the fourth person is, but whoever it is, I'm sure they deserve it.
Alright, well, going into next week, we wish you the best of luck. It's going to be a very interesting race for sure. But Corey, congrats on a solid finish, regardless of the crazy night.
Alright, thanks as always, guys.
Austin, we talked to you briefly earlier, but next week is the final week of the season. What do you have to do in order to, get that finish? I mean, Homestead Miami's an interesting track. Every time we go there, it seems like something crazy happens. How do you feel?
I feel like I have a good chance next week. I really want to get it. And it was, first of all, congratulations to Joe. It was a great job. He won the race. He needed to win, and he didn't need to win, but he was solidly in, I think, but he made sure he was in, so that was a good job by him tonight. But yeah, I've got two teammates in the final four, and I'm looking forward to fighting them. And then I'm not sure who the fourth person is yet. We're figuring it out right now, but it should be either Shane or Matthew Moose. So I'm looking forward to fighting them for the championship. And Homestead is definitely an interesting track.
Yeah, that's for sure. We'll be sure to check in on that next week. Of course, we're not covering it, but we'll keep our eyes on it for sure.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Shane. Well, we are all set and ready to wrap it up out of here for Phoenix International Raceway, the UpperEdge Media 100. Very interesting race. We stayed green for the majority of this thing. Controversial caution at the end. Hands it over to Lawrence after he really did deserve it. But I tell you what, couldn't have written it any better.
You really could. In Joe Lawrence's case, he had two battles within the end of this race. It was A, holding off Corey Hoover during that long green flag run and pulling away from the rest of the field, and then B, all those restarts, not making a mistake and really doing everything in his power to pull out in front of the rest of the field, and he really got helped there by that last caution. Took some couple laps out of the end of the race, and he is your victor in tonight's event. He's going to ride that momentum and more into next week in Homestead, where he hopes to bring home a championship along with the other three drivers in contention.
Well, for everybody here at CFI, we are signing off tonight for the UpperEdge Racing Roadlife Truck Series. We'll see you next time, Thursday night, for the finale of the UpperEdge Racing CMC Sportsman Series. Thanks for tuning in.